Obviously, if you are serious about fighting corruption, you have to be serious about the avenues available to you to fight that corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Anti-Corruption Commission be a part of the Constitution? Maybe not. Maybe separate legislation. You know, if the idea is to fight corruption, separate legislation should be utilized for that process. But if it is made provision in the Constitution, I believe that after leaving office, because coming into office, you've not accumulated anything. Yes.
Yeah. It's when you leave.
So leaving office, that interim period before your entry and your exit is when you are going to be corrupt, if you are going to be corrupt. That is when you are going to be accumulating assets. If you are going to be accumulating assets that are way beyond your earnings, because that is the whole point. Yeah. Are you now richer than when you enter office? Are you now, do you now have $10 million, $100 million when you enter office with nothing? Yeah. And you were using your remunerations and allowances and other things to feed yourself and your family. If all of that is accounted for, are you left with sufficient money to give you $100 million in the bank, or is $100 million in assets? So obviously, like he said, I don't know about spouses, but certainly ministers should.
And my thing is here, the concern here for me is, since the anti-corruption, that aspect of it is in the Constitution, but you make it compulsory for judges and National Assembly members, but you took the liberty to take it off for ministers, even though they should declare before they get into office, but they are not required to declare after. What are you telling us? Me as the layperson, you're telling me the minister can do all they want, they don't have to be accountable after leaving office, even though we entrust them more than we entrust, things that we entrust them is more than what we entrust the National Assembly members. But you're telling those people they can declare their assets after. You can tell judges to declare, but you are telling the minister that he doesn't. What are you opening up to? You? That is telling them you can eat as much as you want. You can do whatever as you want. The law protects you. Now, that notion alone might just put me off.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. But how did you start this conversation? You said, Fouria's editorial said, the Borough Administration Staff Constitution. Yeah. This draft went through scrutiny in the cabinet. So was it that consideration, was it wholly focused on the national interest, or were the participants thinking about themselves? Yeah. So this is why, again, this is why some people would say, the government should not do this by itself. It should be done by consultation.
Because the natural thing will be, if anything I'm doing, I'll look at to protect myself. Because that's not the only part. There's another part where, in the 2020 draft, it was said that in that draft, under the anti-corruption, it says gifts that ministers received should be declared. When you're serving, you receive gifts. Somebody gives you property, somebody gives you a house, somebody gives you something. You should declare it to the anti-corruption bill. That entire portion that was in the 20 is not here. Now, if that is deleted, and also you're telling me you are not supposed to required to declare your asset, the entire mindset is here, is it? you're looking to protect a certain group of people. And that alone defeats the purpose of a constitution. The constitution, I remember you saying here, the reason why, when you were defending the retro aspect, why it should not be, you said, see, the constitution should not be about an individual. We should look at the broader picture. Even though you and I know you don't want any president to stay in power for 20 years, but this is the law of the land, and it should not look at a particular person. It should be for something that, like the entire nation. But it looks like some of these things look like people were kind of protecting themselves, because if you're telling us, oh, they can have gifts, they don't have to declare to the anti-corruption bill. National Assembly should declare their assets after they leave. Judges should declare, but ministers and the vice president are not required to. What does that say to us, the ordinary folks?
Well, like you said, when we say the government, who do we consider to be the government? The government is the president and his cabinet.
Yeah.
The executive arm of government. Wherever you go, if you hear the government, that is referring to them, even though the judiciary and the National Assembly are also part of the government. So obviously, these are the people who are dealing with the big projects. Yes, they are the ones who are dealing with the procurements. They are the ones who are dealing with the national projects that in which huge amounts of money were involved. So this idea of accepting gifts should we shouldn't be talking about it today. Nobody, no public officer should accept gifts. That should be made a policy. I don't know whether it belongs in the Constitution, but I would certainly want legislation around issues like that.